Hi guys, my name is Samantha Tab, and this is my module 15 for AEP 858. Every day counts. Okay, so first I'm going to I'm going to establish the facts. I'm going to give you a summary. So who's involved? Mr. Rhodes, who is the first year principal at Golden Oak High School. I did give some information here about Golden Oak High School. I will go over that a little bit later. Okay, so then Dr. Newman. So Dr. Newman is the superintendent. He met with Mr. Rhodes to discuss instructional problems at the school. The pressing issue was attendance. So he talked about attendance policies and how they aligned with state, and they only allowed, or they're only supposed to allow, excuse absences for illness, death of immediate family members, inclement weather, and a valid reason, approved on by the principal. Grades are then penalized after 5 unexcused absences. The teachers can take away 10 points. And he wants Mr. Rhodes to work with social services in the juvenile court system to help with attendance. So with that said, Mr. Rhodes takes that information from Dr. Newman and he evaluates the data to develop a plan to advocate for the students' well-beings. He then looks at 5 of the 659 students who had missed more than 10 days in the first month. So the case study, it said 85% of the students have missed 10 or more days. So that would be the 659. The first person that he looked at was a girl named Karen. She is a junior. She had A's and B's her freshman and sophomore year. She was a National Honor Society inductee her sophomore year. Her absences went up and then her work quality went down. She missed random days. She didn't take a midterm exam before Christmas. She was married the August prior to her junior year, and her parents wanted conferences with teachers. So then there's Tyrone. Tyrone is a sophomore. He missed 14 days. He went to DC with his parents for 5 days. He went on some educational excursions. Then he went to Canada for another 5 days. And then educational reasons were listed in the letter in which he was going to do some educational things. He had never been to Canada before. Dad assured the school that the work would be completed within a week of returning to the school. That's an unknown. We don't know if that happened. Tyrone's homeroom teacher did excuse the Canada trip. That was an important fact. The next person was Christina. Christina's a freshman. She missed 4 days in a row, 3 different weeks. Her minister wrote a note asking that she's excused to attend out-of-town church meetings. In the letter, it didn't say like what the dates of the meetings were or anything. It just seemed to be pretty broad. Her homeroom teacher approved the absences. However, her algebra teacher wanted a conference with her parents because her grades were slipping. And if I remember right in the case study, that was a concern for other classes as well for Christina. Then there's Carl. So Carl's a sophomore. He attends regular education classes in the morning and vocational classes in the afternoon. He missed random days. He was referred to the truancy officer who then went to Carl's house. After having a conversation with Carl's parents, he realized that they don't support, not that they don't support schooling, but that attendance in school might not be the main concern in their home. Dad said that attendance is a family thing and the schools necessarily don't need to be involved in that. His dad did not graduate high school, and his dad also did mention that he could drop out of school and not finish school and then start working with him. We do need to keep in mind that Carl does have 2 younger siblings in the school system at the feeder schools, and it would be important to check their attendance as well. The last person would be that of the files that Mr. Rhodes was checking out would be John. John's a junior. He's a quarterback who suffered an injury at the jamboree at the beginning of the year. He's going to physical therapy on Tuesdays and Thursdays from noon to 2:30, requested by a doctor. It would be important for him to do physical therapy. The athletic director excused him to go home on Friday afternoons to rest during the season, and it was mentioned that the teachers did not report his excessive absences. So the last person that I want to mention that would be a standout person would be the athletic director. He's been at the school for 10 years and he coached teams to 5 state championships. Also, the teachers are involved here. Okay, so what really has happened? Golden Oak High School has had declining attendance rates in the last several years. They used to be a standout school for attendance, but for some reason it's declining. Homeroom teachers are able to sign off on absences. And last year, Golden Oak High School had the lowest attendance out of any high school in the district. So what then happened? Dr. Newman has now asked Mr. Rhodes to improve the school attendance. So with that information, Mr. Rhodes investigates for the reasons of absences for many students, and that he looks at, that's when he starts pulling the 5 different students' files to start looking at them. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about the legal and ethical issues. So who has been harmed? Students. Students seem to be able to miss school for just about anything, which then affects their grades. The teachers are then also harmed because this seems to be an issue with the superintendent. So because they had free reign over attendance signage, they are now going to be trained, and it's just going to be cracked down upon. If attendance is an issue and the teachers are the ones who are able to approve the attendance, then the jobs or the teachers might be harmed. Legal issues here. Truancy. Truancy is a legal issue. We don't know the reasons of many absences, or we do know the reasons, but why are they all being approved? This also affects funding. If kids aren't going to school, you're not going to get the funds. And then with the next, I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm just going to, you know what I'm talking about. So the next thing is that if the parents they have to educate their kids, and if they're not going to do it, that's when the school can take over legally. And so the parents need to be held accountable for sending their kids to school and getting a quality education. And then the teachers also need to be held accountable for, following policies. There might be possible discrimination as well. And the thing that I'm thinking about is the athletic director with that athlete. So then ethics. So pretty much anything can go into ethics, is a person by person basis on what they think. So teachers being in charge of attendance, is that really ethical? Like, is that really fair? I don't know. Favoritism and discrimination, again, with the athletic director. And I'll go into that a little bit later. And students being out of school for the convenience of the parents. I'm mostly thinking about Carl. They don't find it important to go to school, so I don't really know the background on that. So if I'm going to synthesize this and say what the problem would be in one sentence, I would say the school does not have accountability over who is in charge of attendance, which has resulted in the high school having the lowest high school attendance in the district. And also, a lot of people just aren't taking attendance seriously. Okay, so what do I know about people? I know Dr. Newman asked Mr. Rhodes to improve the attendance. Mr. Rhodes is the new principal. Teachers are able to excuse absences. The athletic director requested a student go home on Friday afternoons. The attendance is not important to some stakeholders. A majority of the teachers have 10 years experience. What I don't know is, why can the teachers excuse the absences? Like, who thought that that would be a good idea? Do they excuse all absences or just some? I mean, do they have some sort of norm that they have that obviously might not follow policy? Does the athletic director allow all injured athletes to go home before games or for afternoons? So this is where I thought maybe discrimination or favoritism would come into play here. If he's only letting the quarterback of the football team, which was mentioned in the case study, that was a very important sport to the school, is he only allowing that athlete to go home on Friday afternoons, or is it just every athlete, cross country, track, basketball, volleyball, all of that? I wish I actually would know that. Has the staff been talked to about this? Has this been brought up before? Why did Mr. Rhodes take these files to evaluate those 5 students? Has Mr. Rhodes reached out to other schools that have really good attendance? And for a first-year principal, I feel like this would be such a task. I would just like to know, is he getting the support that he would need to be successful, that Dr. Newman is asking him? So known facts about the school. So I'm going to go over the school. 9th to 12th grade, 965 students. A majority of the residents are middle class. They do have some poverty and also some high income. A more diverse population in the past couple years. Parents commute 1 to 2 hours daily. So they do have little time to support after school activities. There's low turnover rate for teachers, as most teachers have 10 or more years experience. They only add 1 to 2 teachers per year. It does have the lowest attendance. So I do know that this school has 11 sports teams, 31 clubs. It is I'm assuming it's a public school, so I guess that might not be a known fact. Sorry. Attendance policy aligns with state laws, and more than 85% of the students have missed 10 or more days. What I don't know about the program: are there no attendance requirements for graduation? Why are people not taking this seriously? What has been done for students who miss a lot of school in the past? Does the school not have an attendance secretary? Why are 85% of the students missing 10 or more days? What types of teacher professional development is there when it comes to engagement and all of that? What are the test scores like at this school? That would be important to know because attendance does affect scores. I'm going to prioritize the information now. So, is there community damage? Absolutely. The reputation of the school, the principals, the teachers, the programs, the students. There could be a loss of or a jeopardize of funding, and jobs could be on the line for this. Who does this affect? Pretty much everybody. The district, the school administration, teachers, students, and the families. And I would also say the community, as far as like reputation of wanting to send your student to this school. Has everyone been consulted? I don't think that everyone has been consulted. However, because the superintendent has made a priority for Mr. Rhodes, everyone is actually about to be consulted. Can I learn more about this situation? I did list that above, but absolutely, I can always learn more about this situation. Do I know enough? Although I feel like there are a lot of unknowns, I do feel like I have enough information to make a decision that will be appropriate for the information that we do have and the end goal, which would be improving attendance. So my options would be that first, I'm going to do nothing. Consequences would be it allows teachers to excuse absences, still low attendance, and no one still taking attendance seriously. Create a new policy. It is time consuming. You would have to get a committee together of different types of teachers and the community members. It might not be approved, so you wasted all that time to maybe not get your policy approved, and then there might be tons of pushback with that. My third option would be that only the principal can approve absences. Time consuming. The wait time as far as like if parents ask like, hey, did it get approved? Hey, did it get approved? Well, my email is backed up because I'm so busy because I'm the principal. And then communication pieces. If it didn't get approved, who's going to let them know? Me, the principal? I'm pretty busy. Or number 4, train teachers. However, we need to think that like some teachers with 10 or more years experience might be stuck in their ways and they might not want to have the confrontation. So their behaviors might change. Or the rights turned over to secretaries or office staff. But we also need to think about the workload that the secretaries might already have. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the pros and cons of my options. If I did nothing, the pros would be it's easy, there's no confrontation. The cons would be legal action, job loss, loss of community support, not meeting the needs of the students or the families, and then we're just really not thinking about students if we just do nothing. Creating a new policy. So the pros would be it's more detailed, more accountability, attendance goes up, grades go up. The cons, time consuming, we have to get the approval, we have to get buy-in. It's not just going to be Golden Oak High School having this attendance policy. It would be a lot of schools adopting it and then convincing the board to adopt it. Only the principal approves. Pros, it will be done correctly according to the laws and the policies. The attendance goes up and the grades go up. Cons, loss in trust from maybe the teachers and the families. That would be a micromanaging move in my eyes, and then it would just be time consuming for the principal. Training teachers. Pros, communication, teamwork, professional learning. Cons, there might not be change in behaviors. Let's get real. Is this situation just going through the motions? Like, oh, we need to train people more, and then they'll change their ways. And also, we need to think about this. Should teachers even be approving? I don't know. And then the last thing would be the rights turned over to the secretaries and the office staff. The pros would be it would be done right. It would be office located. If there's any issues, the principals would be right there. Minimal people involved. The grades go up, attendance goes up. And then the cons would be we really need to think about the workload that the secretaries already have. I am going to pause this and I'm going to come back because I realized I'm almost at my 15 minutes.